Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are unpacking one of the absolute wittiest plays ever written, Oscar Wilde's masterpiece, The Importance of Being Earnest. Now, on the surface, it seems like pure, delightful nonsense, right? But underneath all that fun, it's actually a brilliant and, honestly, a pretty daring critique of Victorian society.
So the first and most important joke is hiding in plain sight, right there in the subtitle. Wilde is immediately telling his audience how to watch this thing. He's setting up this delicious paradox. Why would you create something so, well, trivial for people who pride themselves on being so very serious?
And get this, believe it or not, his original subtitle was the complete opposite, a serious comedy for trivial people. Now, that would have meant something totally different, right? Like a play with some heavy moral lesson for a shallow audience. By flipping it, he created something so much more subversive and clever.
The joke is that the final subtitle is aimed squarely at the self-important Victorian establishment. Wilde is basically daring these serious people to enjoy his silly, trivial play. And in doing so, he's sneakily exposing how the things they take so seriously, social status, money, even what your name is, are actually the most trivial things of all.
So how does Wilde pull this whole thing off? Well, it all starts with the characters who get tangled up in his web of witty deception. The entire play is just a masterclass in controlled chaos, and it's all built on one brilliantly simple idea.
The whole plot hinges on this hilarious lie. You've got two friends, Jack and Algernon, and they find their respectable lives incredibly boring. So to escape, they both, at different times, pretend to be a guy named Ernest, a name that conveniently lets them misbehave without anyone finding out.
And each character perfectly represents a piece of the society Wilde wanted to poke fun at. You've got Jack, the hypocrite who's trying to be good, Algernon, who lives only for pleasure, and of course, the terrifying Lady Bracknell, who is the voice of every absurd social rule. But Gwendolen and Cecily, they aren't just love interests. They are the very engines of the play's central joke.
You see, this obsession with a name, just a surface label, is what drives all the hilarious confusion. The name Ernest sounds so sincere, so serious, which is exactly what these women think they want. But of course, the men using the name are being anything but earnest. It perfectly exposes how that whole era was fixated on appearance over actual substance.
Okay, so let's dig into how Wilde uses this seemingly silly plot as a satirical weapon. He takes the most sacred Victorian institutions and just turns them into one brilliant punchline after another.
Yeah, he goes after the institution of marriage relentlessly. He just strips it of all its romance and shows it for what it often was for the upper classes, a cold, cynical business deal. Love? That's an afterthought. It's all about social standing and financial security.
And this is just perfectly captured when Lady Bracknell interrogates Jack, who wants to marry her daughter. She quizzes him like he's a business prospect. His income? Satisfactory. His politics? She's actually pleased he knows nothing. But the deal breaker? He was found in a handbag at a train station. It's not about his character, it's about his lack of a proper pedigree. It's absolutely hilarious and just savage.
And this famous line from Gwendolen, it's basically the play's unofficial motto. This is the core belief of these characters and Wilde's entire critique of their world. It confirms that for this society, performance, appearance, and just how things look are the only things that really matter. Sincerity, not only is it boring, it's totally irrelevant. Okay, so this leads us to what might be the play's most radical idea. That to survive a repressive society, you absolutely need a secret identity. Wilde even came up with a name for it. Algernon invents this fictional friend named Bunbury, who is always sick. So whenever a boring dinner party comes up, Algernon has to rush to poor Bunbury's bedside. It's a brilliant term he coins for the art of strategic lying, a tool for creating freedom.
So, Bunburying really represents the play's main conflict. You have the crushing weight of your respectable public self on one side and the liberating freedom of your secret, private self on the other. Being a Victorian gentleman meant constant performance. Bunburying was the escape hatch, a secret world where pleasure and a little bit of anarchy could actually exist. And this is where the theme gets much deeper and way more personal. You see, many scholars argue that this required double life is completely tied to Wilde's own life as a gay man in a society that literally criminalized who he was. For men like Wilde, having a secret world wasn't just for fun, it was a matter of survival.
This line from Algernon is funny on the surface, but when you think about it, it can also be read as this deeply tragicomic statement. For someone whose true self is forbidden by society, a respectable public life, like marriage, would be absolutely unbearable without a secret outlet, a Bunbury, where you could actually be yourself.
And this brings us to the final and most poignant layer, where the themes of this brilliant play collide with the devastating reality of Oscar Wilde's own life. And the timing of it all, it's just heartbreaking.
I mean, just look at this timeline of 1895. It shows this catastrophic fall from grace. At the exact moment he reached the absolute peak of his fame, with the importance of being earnest, his own secret life was exposed. And the very same serious people that he's so brilliantly satirized were the ones who ended up destroying him.
All of a sudden, the play's commentary on the danger of living a double life wasn't just satire anymore. The fear of being found out, the performance of a public identity, the threat of public disgrace, these became the defining, devastating elements of Wilde's own reality.
So ultimately, the genius of this play is its ability to operate on all these levels at the same time. It's a perfect, hilarious farce, it's a razor-sharp social satire, and it's a coded, deeply personal critique of a society that demands everyone be the same. And that is what makes it a timeless masterpiece.
And that leaves us with one last thought. We live in an age of carefully constructed digital identities, right? Of public profiles and private lives. In a world where we all perform a version of ourselves online, well, maybe Wilde's ideas about the double life aren't so Victorian after all. Perhaps we all understand, now more than ever, the importance of not being earnest,